doing it with the intent of thinking, how can we make it better? How can we get more paying clients? Is there anything I'm missing? We do this stuff quite a bit in the actual Dr. Marc method in our level 2 program. This is a monthly occurrence where we go over content, think about messaging and who you're trying to speak to and if it's landing and how to improve it and clarify these things. Number one, take comfort in knowing if you're an online coach, yeah, Daisy, I'm getting rolling right now. And I think you're up second on my list. So I'm excited to dive into your stuff. But as we get going here, the biggest thing being with the intent of, improving that kind of stuff and landing clients and knowing that this is an iterative process and something that we're always working on and we're always trying to improve. So just take comfort in knowing if, I don't know, a lot of people view me and say, hey, Marc, you've gotten really good at marketing and that kind of stuff. I'm working at it just like you are. And doing something is always better than doing nothing. And it doesn't need to be perfect, but we always want to improve that stuff and put it out there. So we're going to dive into some content right away. I'm going to raffle some stuff off today as well. We have a social media course for nutrition coaches called the 5 Client Formula. I'm going to give away free access to that. It's a $500 program. It's amazing. It'll talk and walk you through a lot of these principles. So that part is going to be fantastic as well. But I want to share my screen. And essentially what I did was poll you guys saying, fill me in on your situation, show me your social media accounts and, some of your goals and what you're trying to do and what you're thinking around, is this what I'm missing, that kind of stuff. So I have some context for the stuff we're going to go over and social media handles. So we can just briefly go over your stuff and talk through it. We have 7 submissions here. If you missed that stuff and you want me to do another one, make sure to like this video and drop your social media handle in the account in the chat, and we'll do it at a different time. Okay. Like happy to do that. But for today, let's just dive into this stuff. And if you have any comments as I get going, without a doubt, let me know. And we'll go from there. Also, I was just seeing my audio wasn't really popping up. You guys hear me okay and everything? Make sure that that's the case because I don't want that. But yeah, let's tune in. Let's go share screen. And I'm going to pop up the actual. We could do entire screen, but why don't we do my first one here? My first submission. Let's see who it is. We got Brandy. Let's go with Brandy's here. There we go. Let's share this entire window here. Fit with Brandy. You guys seeing this? Let me know if it's not the case and if I pop off too much. I want to see. Awesome. There we go. You guys see everything okay? If you're watching and tuning along, make sure you let me know here because I got multiple screens going and stuff. But just to fill you in on Brandy's situation a little bit, what is your primary goal of your social media account? Brandy says land paying clients and education. I want to provide value. Okay, awesome, Daisy. Thanks for letting me know that. And is there anything specifically you want me to review or advice on? What am I missing to land clients? Okay, the first thing I'm seeing right off the bat is in her social media handle, Fit with Brandy. It's one of those things where she's describing what she's up to. The fit thing, I don't fully understand just on face value here, but I think I could, put 2 and 2 together. Sometimes that kind of stuff is hard to search as well. We think about like branding and that kind of stuff. So it's something to keep in mind in terms of like how we name stuff. Usually if we can hit it on the nose around like exactly what we do with a result that's easy to find, just makes things easier in terms of new people finding our stuff. But she also says, I help individuals 30 plus, especially health pros who are drained and leave little time for self-care and family. That's great. Getting closer to who you help and get specific around that type of stuff. Fantastic. But I think personally, I'd think about, hey, what do those people want more than anything? Like, what is the result that they want? Are health professionals, are they looking to get leaner? Are they looking to, you talk about who are drained. So is it like energy? And if they don't have enough energy or they want to lose weight, what is that going to give them that they already have now? So we want to talk a little bit more about, like, you talk about the problem here, but like, what is the payoff through working with you, and like, what are those things? And I'd kind of go about it that way. So I'd kind of dig into that aspect a little bit more. Talk about self-care. That's good. I get the sense of, as I'm looking through this, how you help people, which is fantastic. I think 4 years ago, 5 years ago, you'd go on Instagram pages and you wouldn't see any text, and that's completely changed. So I'm happy to see that, like, you're utilizing cover images and text through stuff, because it makes it easier to communicate what we do. But I'd almost like think about, okay, what do these health professionals want, and what is the result that they want, and speak about that a little bit more. Like, here's a good example, pro tips to make fitness progress. Like, what is the fitness progress that they want? What is that specific thing? If we could talk a little bit, and there's ways to figure that out, right? Like, number one, you could interview some people that fit your niche and who you're trying to attract, and get a sense of what are their results that they're after, and that type of stuff, and then make some content directly around that. So, pro tips, 5 tips to help you get blank. Once you know that result, it's much easier to market, right? Would be the biggest thing. I'd say just like, this probably needs to be more results focused. And when you can make this more results focused and your content more results focused, that's going to be the missing part around landing clients, because they can finally see what's in it for them if they go down this path with you. So those would be my thoughts around Brandy here and some of your stuff. Other than that, learn more and get your free download. What is the free download about? Like, it's good to have a lead magnet here to get people into your network, maybe send them an email sequence and go about it that way. But what is the download about? Like, why am I compelled to download this? What am I going to get if I go down this path? Ideally, I get something that's valuable, right? And I have a feeling you do talk about that. If I click on this here, where does this take me? Overwhelmed by stress, ready to reclaim your life. Get your free guide, top 5 stress management hacks, when you join the waitlist for the Nurse Mom Sanctuary. Okay, so you're talking about specifically nurses, which are health professionals, but maybe you can dive into that in your content as well. Then I would take these keywords and talk about it in my actual profile. That's where I'd start with that stuff, Randy. Cool. Anyone got any thoughts on this one? That was Brandy's stuff. We're going to go to Daisy next, which I know you're in the chat. Daisy, I'm going to talk about your situation here a little bit. Tell everyone you filled us in on. Your primary goal of your social media account. And let me pop over to Daisy's stuff. Stay Fit with Daisy right here. Huge following. Amazing work, Daisy. You're clearly doing something very, very valuable, which we'll talk about in a second. And it looks like you got a program coming out too, which is even cooler, because we can talk about that. But in terms of primary goal of your social media account, land paying clients. Amazing. Secondary goal is educate women on healthy diets and balance. Is there anything you want me to review? What can I do to land clients? Okay, the first thing being, and let's dive into this here. I just want to make sure everything's still cruising. The first thing here is, okay, first of all, like, going through your content, anytime I see something like a green check and a red check, I love it, because it's clear that, like, when you're educating people, you're showing them that there's a clear difference between doing things one way and doing them the other way, which is what people want. People want to be shown how to optimize stuff and what's better and what's worse. So that's fantastic. Same thing over here on the right, quads more, glutes more. You're showing the difference. That's why conventional progress pictures work in the first place, because you're showing a clear difference between things, which is amazing. Obviously, a lot of this, you have a fat loss program coming up, which I think is fantastic, and you're probably well suited to teach and coach and all that stuff. A lot of the most recent stuff seems training focused, which is fantastic. And I think that's how you probably grow your following, and adding nutrition into this and a more fat loss program. If that's the case, let me know if it's not. I'm assuming you're addressing nutrition in a fat loss accelerator program. I think that in itself, just talking more about fat loss as you lead up to this in the next 13 days makes a lot of sense. Starting March 31st, that's clear around there's a timeline, which is fantastic, but you could probably get more specific. Like, when do people need to have stuff in to you by? Like, when are things closing? When's the last opportunity? Maybe make that a little bit clear. I want to pop out of this link here for a second. Okay, so the first one here is your 28-day fat loss accelerator. To me personally, when I see multiple links, and here's your YouTube channel, which we can check out in a second, I think I would for the time being, if you have a big push for a paid coaching program or something along those lines in the next 13 days, I would make this the only link out right now. And that's what I would focus on. Because right now, if someone clicks on this, obviously it's clear that the first one is here, but keep in mind that people might also see like, hey, maybe I don't need a fat loss program. Maybe I need a full body strength guide. Maybe I need the glutes cheat sheet. Maybe I need a 1-week workout plan. What do I really need? And those are thoughts, questions, and potentially a conversation that they should be having with you, but they're not having, right? So I'd almost guide them to one thing right now. And if they don't see what they want or want more information, they'll reach out to you, which is exactly what you want. So I would just highlight one thing for right now, especially when you have a time frame, would be the first thing. And if Daisy, you have any questions that come up around my thoughts as we go through this, by all means, drop them in there. If I'm looking over, things are doing amazing well. Like, you have some huge reels, right? 3 million views, 4 million views. That's amazing. I think the reason why this stuff works is that it's so clear. First of all, the editing's fantastic, but it's so clear around how you're instructing people and what you're doing. It's like yes, no content. I love that. Follow for more. You've clearly done a really, really good job of doing valuable stuff and building an audience and getting people to follow along. I think this is just like textbook marketing, and you've done an amazing job for that. Now, what I would start dripping into this stuff to get more paying clients is you just need to make it much more obvious, not all the time, but some of the time, that there's a coaching offer to work with you. So for example, like how to target your back. And if you have a fat loss program coming up, these are the top 3 mistakes that all my fat loss clients make with their rows before they work with me. Instead of being like, here's the valuable stuff, it's like, this is the valuable stuff as well as this is the stuff that I teach my fat loss clients, or something along those lines. Just make it much more obvious that there's an opportunity to work with you in some of the content that you drip out. And you could work it. Okay, here, let's see this desserts content, because this is really nutrition focused. First of all, these are both you, which I think they are. Cool. Very, very cool editing. Same life, different choices. Which one are you? 2-bar. This is what it says in the caption. This stuff is awesome. Again, you've like really nailed and mastered the clear difference, yes, no style stuff, which is valuable because so many of us are trying to communicate the difference between things. And the easiest way to do that is just line them up and show that there's a difference. What I would do is just try to find ways to talk about how you do this with clients, and not just kind of the teaching scenario. So you could do that through story. The truth is, we all have the same 24 hours. We all have cravings. We all have long days. When my fat loss clients feel this way, here's what I tell them. You don't have to be perfect. You don't have to give up, that kind of thing. And then from there, you can just put a CTA around it. The biggest thing is, I don't think now going back and changing this stuff to a different CTA, maybe not necessary, but the content you make moving forward, especially in the next 13 days, should highlight this stuff that you have going on, especially a paid coaching offer. Does that make sense, Daisy? That's what, if I take a look at this stuff, I would just say, hey, number one, make it much more obvious that there's that opportunity to work with you, and go from there. Because right now it's like I see a coach that's, I think you just, okay, so she says right now, my problem now is I don't have clients to showcase their progress. Completely understand that, especially as you get this stuff going. What you need to do though, is like you can use hypothetical scenarios, right? Like you've done this yourself, you're living this yourself, so you could talk about your experience doing it, or you could talk about the hypothetical scenarios. If you were my fat loss client, here's exactly what I would do in 28 days to get you blank result. Like you could talk about the hypothetical thing, but you're still positioning it like it's for clients that you'll help and the people that you'll help, not just about you or what's helpful. Does that make sense? There are entire industries that for privacy reasons can't talk about their clients. They use those type of workarounds to position it as someone that you're still working with people and kind of going for, like, you're still, here's what I would do with clients, here's how I do that type of stuff. If you think about healthcare fields, those type of things, they can't speak with their clients, but they still speak about their clients specifically, individually, but they still got to showcase that stuff. So that's how the workaround and kind of go from there. But the biggest thing is just changing your language around, making it less just about the value and more about the value for the individuals that you help, and just crafting it around that. And that's where I would start. If you guys are digging the content here, make sure to hit that like button. And if you have any thoughts around this stuff, you're like, okay, yeah, Dr. Mark, I get what you're saying, but I'm thinking about this, that type of stuff, like, drop it in the chat and we'll continue to break things down. I got a full hour for this stuff here, so we can talk more about it. But Daisy, those are just some small tweaks. You got it, Jordan. Also, drop the word formula in the chat to be in the running for our free giveaway now for the social media course. That'll help everything in terms of help the channel grow, that type of stuff, and I'll get you over a course. We'll do a raffle at the end of this call here for that. Jordan, we'll check out your channel as well at a different time. I'm going to copy and paste it into document over here that I got, and then we'll go from there. We'll highlight a different time. Sound good? I have problem converting people from my challenge. It does sound like conversion is the big thing that you got to focus on, right? Like, you have the following, you have the eyes on your stuff. You got to focus on taking people that are curious with this stuff and making sure that you're doing that, and getting them curious, and then changing them in, like turning them into paying clients. In your challenge, I know nothing about your challenge, so just bear with me for a second. I have a feeling what you're doing is not talking about the next step as often as you could throughout the challenge. Like, you got to, like, even again, if it's hypotheticals, you got to talk about what clients would do and experience past the challenge and outside of the challenge, so that they're not just like hit with an offer at the end. You need to bake it into the entire thing. That's a lesson that I had to learn through this stuff, is that, like, if there is a next thing, you got to talk about the next thing through your stories, examples, all that stuff throughout the challenge, so people see that next step. People would visit the page, but they're not signing up. Typically, they do call this stuff funnels because there's a lot of people at the beginning. So there's going to be some traffic that goes to your stuff that won't convert. But obviously, it sounds like not getting much conversion. So there's something about that needs to change. Anytime I think about people not signing up for my stuff, the question that I constantly ask myself is that, and again, there's a lot of times people don't sign up for my stuff. I've forgotten more about how to do these things than I remember. But usually the answer is that I haven't made a compelling enough reason for them to sign up. If they don't sign up right now, what happens? Like, what do they miss out on? If they do sign up, like, what result do they get? And is it clear enough around the result that they get in whatever time frame? Again, there's no guarantees that they get that result, but if you don't paint the picture of what they could get clear enough, they're not going to take that next step. Okay. Hopefully that makes sense around that. Okay. Let's keep cruising here. And again, if you're digging the content today and you want me to do more of it, make sure you hit that like button so that I know. And Daisy, we can come back to your stuff in a second as well. But let's go over some of Kat's stuff. Kat, amazing. I'm glad you put this in here. Kat is a coach in our program right now. So we went over your stuff before. We can dig into it a little bit more, and I'm excited to do that. Helping women 40 plus find consistency in using food as energy and kicking belly fat to the curb. Amazing. I think that's getting pretty clear. Could you speak to more specific type of female client over 40? Like, maybe is there like a top end of the age range, so that, like, what are the common problems when you're 40 plus, that kind of stuff? Is it perimenopausal? Is that something that you're focusing on? Like, things that you could get used to get more clear, I always think are good. Free nutrition assessment, apply for coaching. Love that. I think anytime, one of the smartest things that we can do is just talking about applying for coaching, because then people know that there is an opportunity. They see it there. Even if they don't do it right away, they know that there's opportunity available for them, which is fantastic. Let's break down some of the content here, though. See a reel here. No, babe, you don't need a greens powder or a beat the bloat supplement to manage your perimenopausal weight gain. Okay, so sounds like, again, I don't want to take one piece of content and say that's everything you're talking about, but if that's part of it, I'd work that into my bio and get a bit clearer there. Now, those things, and I know that you've learned this stuff, if they think they need the greens powder or beat the bloat supplement, all that stuff, the smartest thing you can do is talk about it, right? Like that, when we get that feeling of when someone's like, you're in my head and I don't know how, like, how do you know what I'm thinking? That's just us taking the conversations that we're having with real people, the things we're reading on message boards, like wherever our niche is hanging out, whatever they're saying, and we're turning it into content. We're transcribing and not translating. And that means like taking the things that they're actually talking about and not putting it in our own words, because that's what's going to make it land. You need to slow down and do the boring stuff, get enough sleep, drink enough water, lift weights, prioritize protein, eat whole foods, find stress reducing activities, stay consistent, and repeat. I think that's what it says at the beginning, at the bottom. I love that. I think that's fantastic. The biggest thing is, as we're going through this stuff, can we tease this stuff out a little bit more? Like, maybe that's what happens. Yeah, exactly. You do it first, then second, but maybe just change the actual cover image to just the first one. So when someone's going through, they won't see the answer yet. But there's, also if they see keywords, maybe that'll get them to dig into it a little bit more. Just seeing that comparatively, it looks like that one's doing just as well as everything else. Reasons why walking is so underrated. It's always hard to say why this one is. First of all, you posted 5 reels in 5 days. So amazing. You're doing the work. That's what I love about joining things and signing up for stuff and getting help and accountability and advice, is that like you show up and you're more present. That in itself is amazing and why we do this kind of stuff. But like, what about, when I look over this stuff, what about this made it land? Got a comment from Coach Ed, which is fantastic. Obviously, you're speaking to someone that's following along with your stuff, so the engagement is there. You talk about a lot of value-based stuff here, which is fantastic. I think there's probably something here around like maybe walking is a keyword for your niche, and maybe you should speak more about that. Like if I look over this stuff and think about why did that land and what you should talk about, it's like maybe diving into that and making that more practical around like practical tips to work walking into your life so you can blank. One of the easiest copywriting hacks is doing the so you can thing, right? Do this so you can blank. Instead of like, a lot of times, if we think about truly marketing the result, we should start with the result, but sometimes we want to educate and that kind of stuff. But if we focus, like we can still position it like, do the thing that's valuable to get this thing. And so you can, and I would focus it on that way. But those are some of my thoughts around your stuff right now, Kat. Looks great. Keep plugging away with the consistency, and that will pay off. What do we got next here? Again, any thoughts, comments, drop them in. You're like, Mark, that makes sense, but I don't know what you're talking about. Drop it in the chat and I'll address it, and then we'll go from there. We got Coach Rob up here next. Coach Rob's tossed me a follow, which is fantastic. Love that. Let's go over his stuff here. What is the primary goal of your social media account? I want to attract paying customers. My audience would be male dads between 40 and 55, which is amazing. This is really, really good. I can already tell that right from your bio. That's who you're speaking to. I help dads build muscle, lose fat, and win in life. This is already pretty clear. The main CTA around your entire profile is DM me change to get started. I think like that definitely can work. I would always tease out like, are people doing that? And I'm making that clear enough through my content. Let's see here. like to me, I'd actually, again, like this reel here that you posted in the last day, I'd write here. It's like um, if you're ready to get a consistent training and coaching program that's going to allow you to build muscle, lose fat, and win at life, DM me change to get started. I would just include that on everything. Like I think you got to make it super clear. First pinned post here says, my passion lies in helping men with getting lean and ripped, bringing their confidence back, and having their wife grab their arse at any opportunity. There we go. Is that what they want? Amazing. The biggest thing is I'm always thinking, is this what they want? And if it is, we got to continue to talk about it, because that could be really, really clear. I think having that desire piece in here is super smart, right? If that's what they want and you know that, then we got to continue to talk about it. You're in your 40s and 50s struggling to build muscle. Here's one simple strategy to combat this. I think it's pretty clear who you're speaking to. I'd almost say dads in your 40s struggling to build muscle. Here's what you're missing. Here's one simple strategy to build, here's one strategy to double your results, something along those lines. Here's my simple steps and strategies I use to go from tired and overweight to lean and ripped. Love that. Anytime we're listifying things though, and I'm assuming you do talk about a certain amount of steps. I was carrying too much fat. I focus on making better choices with my food and up my protein intake. I allowed myself the things that I love, all super valuable stuff. I would number these, right? The clearer we can get around like what we're giving people, the more likely they are to stay and tune in and stay around and kind of go from there. Now you use a different keyword on this one. I'm not sure if you're testing out different things or kind of going from there. But I mean, I don't know, some congruence around what it is so people know exactly what it is, because there's people that are following you for 3, 4, 5, 6 months that need to know exactly what it is and kind of go from there. I would probably use the same one. Want low carb recipes? Comment low carb below now. Don't see any comments here, but that doesn't mean that I wouldn't continue to use this type of content. But we've got to ask ourselves, do they want low carb recipes? Would be the biggest thing. This seems like a super valuable lead magnet and something I definitely would continue to talk about and do. But maybe I would title it something differently if they don't know yet that that's what they need or want, or those type of things. 5 easy, like 20 or 40 high protein recipes that'll allow you to blank. Like I put that on the first page, right? 100% free, no opt-in required. And that's super appealing. It's just like positioning it the thing that they want. Now, if they do want that, like if they know you from low carb stuff and they want that from you, then continue to talk about it. I'm just always thinking about like, what is the thing that they understand and want, and positioning it that way? Because sometimes we want to sell them on what they want and give them what they need. Is there anything else here? I just want to know if I'm providing the right type of content to attract who I'm after, and if my page looks like I'm a coach before I start down the road of paid advertising. That's a great question. I personally would always think about, I'm not into paid advertising. And that's just because in most cases, like I see the appeal of taking stuff that's working and putting money on it to make it go further. Like there is an ROI on some of this stuff. I just know so many coaches that don't make any money doing it, and they just waste money. I would spend more time and energy learning around like what is working. And I'm sure there's things that you're doing now that are working, and just doubling down on that and making more content around that. That's the lower risk, higher reward strategy in my perspective. And definitely, like if you look at my YouTube content, my Instagram content, I just continue to assess and tease out like where are my clients coming from, what can I speak more of, and kind of go from there. Would be my thoughts. Forget the bro building sessions. If you're a dad, you're definitely speaking to the right people, and it is very clear. And I think pictures with your kids, that's amazing. Really, maybe the one thing you're missing in terms of like kind of like a rally cry, big picture stuff is like, why do dads want this stuff? You did talk about, significant others, partners, and the appeal and desire around that. But there's probably a kid aspect around like, your legacy and how you want your kids to view you and being a role model and that type of stuff. I'd think about it that way as well and try to position it that way. Um, Also, this is a good example to like, hey, um, I would I would think about who else in my niche is doing this type of stuff really, really well. And I mean, we don't always know exactly, but like who's doing it really, really well, and can I do stuff similar to them and mirror some of their stuff? I have an account that I was thinking of as you're doing this. I don't know if I'll be able to find it super, super quick, but let me see if I can pull it up. This account's growing really, really fast right here. Let me drop it in the chat. Sean Fanning, Sean Fit Hacks Nutrition. A lot of this. Daisy says, I've heard if you're not getting leads from organic content, don't put money behind it. I couldn't agree more. I would also like, it just isn't like, it's not going to work like that. You got to view paid advertising as gas on the fire, but you don't, in many cases, we don't fully have the fire lit yet. It will allow your fire to grow if you know exactly what it is that people want or speaking to you. But without that, to me, the move is organic content, make more of it, get a better understanding of that stuff. Check out Sean Fit Hacks Nutrition here. That account is, I think it's doubled in size in the last month. There's barely any posts that I see that don't say dads, muscle, belly fat, man in it. I'd do more of this. That's what I would do. Another thing is like, do you have any female coaches IG accounts that have good conversions? Yeah, without a doubt. I can pass those along. I'm going to reach out. Hi, Emily. Good to see you. I'll reach out, Daisy, to you specifically with some recommendations. Again, I'm just kind of like, let me put some thought into it before I pass some stuff along, but I'll reach out to you individually and then we'll go from there. Another thing, Daisy's a good example of this. A lot of us don't create content to like get discovered and get more eyes on our stuff. And a lot of times that's because we're not making content for people that don't know us yet. Daisy's done a good job of making valuable stuff and putting it out there, but we want to make like stuff for people that don't know us yet. They don't know what problems we solve. They don't really know even if they have that problem, but our job is to showcase that and inspire them around what they can do if they figure this stuff and go from there. Like we want to get really, really big picture around that. Let me actually, I saw a quote in the last few days that speaks to this exact thing around the content that you should be creating. I'm going to read it straight up because I think it's very, very valuable. This was on Facebook. I got to go through like 2 pages of golf content first, trying to fix my golf swing, for summertime here. I found it. Veronica Kennedy on Facebook. I don't know Veronica personally. I came across this and thought, this is amazing. I need to share it. I need to write it down. I need to talk about it because she says you need to create 3 types of content. And I couldn't agree more. The number one, first type, is content for those who already know you and are engaged enough to read your long, in-depth posts. So this is people that like are already following along. They understand what you're about and that type of stuff. And they're going to stay along for the ride. We don't want to make all of our content like this, but a lot of it for conversion's sake and that type of stuff is very, very helpful. Like that will, attract and convert some people that are already in our networks. Then the second type is content for those who don't know you, but are interested in your niche, as long as it's valuable and to the point. Fantastic. We have people that, the stuff that we're creating, and I'd say this about your stuff, Rob, too, is like, it's valuable, it's helpful. You're giving away recipes and like the how-to and instructional based stuff, which is fantastic. But number 3, and again, we don't need to just like all of a sudden focus on one of these individually, but we do want to make sure that we're ticking all these boxes through time. But number 3 is content for those who neither know you care about your niche yet, and your job is to make them realize why they should. She also mentions most people only focus on the first type. Some cover the first and the second, and very few master all three. That third one is the most important. The reels, the videos, the content that goes super far is always the third type, without a doubt. You got to think about why this stuff should be important to people. What are their dreams, aspirations? What are their problems? A lot of us focus on the education and the solution and the how-to, but we need to think about what happens. A good thought exercise is a lot of times is like, what happens to people if they don't go down this coaching path with you? Where do they end up? What problems do they have? Like, how do things get worse? How does that play into their lives? And if you can start creating some content around that, it'll go a lot further. So think about those three things. Thank you, Veronica, for sharing that. I've talked about it nonstop for the last little bit because I think it's really, really powerful. And the third one is definitely something that I need to focus on as well. Who else we got? The last one here for today, we got Thrive with Allie. And again, if you guys are digging, before we go over Allie's stuff, if you guys are digging the live stream today, make sure to hit that like button. If you want me to do another one in the future, make sure to drop your own channels and I will review this stuff. I know we had Jordan already doing that. I've made note of it. We'll look at your stuff, Jordan, and check it out. I'll also get over the form to collect some information from you, Jordan, to just get a sense of what you're trying to accomplish and what you're up to and that kind of stuff. And actually, if you're still there and we have time, maybe we can go over it today, but we'll go over that in a second. Let's go to, I'm starting to get into tab hell here too. So many tabs. Let's see here. Oh, we have one more after this too. Got Hendrikus from South Africa after this, but Allie wants to land paying clients, and I haven't started promoting yet. Okay. My first thing is thinking, number one, you got a big following, Allie, 20,000 followers. There's glad you found it helpful, Kat. There's followers. There's clients here. You just got to make it obvious that there's an opportunity. And empowering a woman to embrace health, happiness, and mindset. That's fantastic. I'm always thinking, is that what they want? A lot of times that's what they need and that's where they'll get, but that might not bring them in, would be the biggest thing. You got to think about marketing in terms of like opening doors and what's going to get them to open the door. And it's usually around what they want, what they're curious about, those type of things. So again, I don't know specifically the people you're speaking to and that kind of stuff, but I'm always thinking, is that what they want? Next, before you even start quote unquote promoting things, or even if you're ready to take on clients, which I'm assuming you are, because you're like what appears to be, again, I don't know everything about your situation, but a super fit lady that's got it all figured out. And you're probably got a lot of coaching advice to offer people. Before and after pictures, awesome, living this life, amazing, those type of things. You just got to make it obvious that there's a coaching offer. So for me, if I'm seeing this, I'd put like in my bio, taking on clients April 1st, join the wait list here, just a simple form to the next step. Like stuff like that, just start drawing awareness. Oh, it says IFBB elite. You're living this life and know exactly what people need to be doing to improve their health. All you got to do is start with an opportunity around these next steps. Is there anything specific you want me to review or advice on? How do I start? Okay, we just gave you one example there. But I think you just got to make it really obvious that there's a coaching opportunity. So adding a link to your bio that has somewhere people can click and fill you in on what they're trying to accomplish. Super simple, super straightforward, like 5 or 6 questions. Most general applications to work with you as a coach will have like name the result that you want. You can give some examples in brackets so people have an idea. Ideally, what is the most pressing one, or what is the primary goal you're trying to accomplish? What have you tried in the past to reach this goal? Would be another thing to collect some information around. So you have some context around where they're coming from, that type of stuff. What do you think is holding you back from reaching this goal? And what do you feel like you need? Is it nutrition help, training help, a specific diet, a specific plan, that type of stuff? how ready on a scale of 1 to 10 are you to change your lifestyle and take coaching feedback? That's not like just because someone rates it a 5 doesn't mean you can't work with them, but you'll have a better idea of like where they're at mentally and if they're ready to change. And then I usually put like contact information at the bottom, name, email, phone number, get their email and their phone number, just because crazy things happen with email, right? Doesn't always go to the right place. Maybe it gets lost, maybe it goes to spam, that type of stuff. If you don't hear back from people, you could always go to that secondary communication line and then go about it that way. So that's where I'd start with an application form. Either do a wait list to start or say that you're taking on clients. You could always do, like, especially if you're just getting started, I would do some sort of like introductory offer, like friends and family offer, although like you have many people following you that aren't just friends and family. But you could say you're taking on your first 3 to 5, like pick one of those paying clients at a founder's rate, and that's only going to go on for the first 5. So get in now, start that process, and then go from there. Like those are some of the things I would do to get started. But I'll say this: we need coaches like you. We need people that have this stuff figured out. You're clearly passionate about it. The world just needs more coaches like that. So you're only doing everyone a disservice if you are putting yourself out there in this way. So those are my thoughts. Anyone else have any thoughts on this one, on Ali's situation, or anything that we've discussed so far today? Those are some of the things that I'm thinking. Okay, we also got Hendrikus here. And again, if you guys want to be in the running for that 5 client formula free or social media course that I'm going to be giving away today, drop the word formula down in the chat if you're following along, and I'll put you in the running for it as well. What do we got from Hendrikus here? We haven't talked at all about, yeah, you bet, Daisy, I'll put you in there. Yeah, exactly, Kat. Just make it clear that you offer coaching. That's just not clear yet. And I know you're just about to get that stuff started, but the best thing you can do is do those things, highlight the thing even before you start, which is kind of backwards. But if we don't have the demand from people to work with us, it's hard to prioritize our coaching business. So we kind of got to start there. We haven't went over any YouTube channels yet today, but I got one right here, which is fantastic. This is from Hendrikus. We talked mainly about Instagram, and there's a lot of similarities between these things. Is it coming up? Is it going to load for me? Amazing. Okay. Hendrikus, the name of his channel is My Better Balanced Life. There's some similarities here. In YouTube, you can still have a link in your bio. The way people like kind of, operate within YouTube and utilize YouTube is a little bit different than Instagram. Like typically a lot of times people, if they're poking around, they don't really like, when they come across your stuff, they don't typically go to your bio. They like watch your videos. They come to one video and they kind of go from there. So it's not like it's not as important, that type of stuff. I would say individual pieces of content and individual videos are much more important than the actual bio and stuff. But you have some links coming out and that type of stuff. You have 57 videos, which is fantastic. Typically, we need around like 30 videos for YouTube to kind of start to understand where to put us and where to show us. So you're doing the work, which is fantastic. Let's take a look at some content. And obviously this looks like professionally edited and there's some editing, which is fantastic. Me personally, I'm always looking for names of titles and views. Some of the smartest things you can do on YouTube. And again, if you guys are, first of all, we're on YouTube, and I know a lot of you guys clearly utilize it in some way. But if you're looking and interested to get into YouTube, I'm going to share everything I would know about it, because in the last 3 years, we've created 400 like professionally done full-length videos over 8 minutes long. And this is where I'm getting all like, that type of stuff. Oh my God, thank you so much. I'm so glad I got up for you. I'm just start watching this. Thank you so much for the wonderful tips. I need to stop fear of putting myself out there. The craziest thing about this is that the people that are following along with you, Ali, and I'm number one, Allison, I'm glad you got so much value out of that, but they already think you got this figured out. They're just waiting for the next opportunity. And if I'm being entirely honest, the reason why I teach this stuff is because the people that in your network, they're not reaching out to Dr. Marc to work with me. They don't know about me, but they know about you, and they know that you could help. They're just waiting for that opportunity. So it's time to break out of that. You got to stop focusing on it being like, something that like you've already got the job. You already got people that are interested. You just got to give them the opportunity. Got to focus. It's not salesy. It's not like selling is helping. And we can shift our mindset around that, it's going to help us, take that next level. If you want to chat any more about that, Allison, shoot me an email and we'll dive into that situation a little bit more. The one thing I'm looking for in terms of YouTube videos, we talked a little bit about the skyscraper method earlier, finding channels that are doing really, really well, and looking at what they're up to in their videos and seeing like, what are the similarities? What are the keywords? What are they talking about? Why do we think we're doing well? And then creating our own versions of that stuff. If I look at these titles here, looks like your best performing video or close to it in the last month was the one that you just posted, which is amazing. It talks about lengthwise, it's similar to the other videos, so there's nothing different there, but transform your body in 1 year, a proven 4-step plan. It's got 117 views in the last 6 days, and you have 26 subscribers on your channel, which means comparatively, when there's a big discrepancy between the amount of views that you're getting and the amount of subscribers that you have on your channel, it means that this video is being found by people that aren't already following your channel. So it's going into the algorithm, it's being pushed somewhere, and it's valuable, right? Whereas if I look at vitamin D and strength training, that has 17 views, clearly there's something about that just isn't as meaningful, valuable, popular about that topic. When I start to look at this stuff, I'm always thinking, I got to do one for the algorithm and one for me. Maybe you're interested in vitamin D and strength training, which is amazing, but maybe people just aren't that interested in it, right? And if we think about Daisy says, I just started reposting my IG Reels to my YouTube last month, and one of my videos went kind of viral and grew my following to 9K. No long form yet. All you got to do with the long form stuff is literally take the most popular videos and like just extend them out longer. You talk so much about like what and why, you just have an opportunity to break them down into like the how and go through it, show more examples. Obviously we talked about this with you, Daisy, earlier. Talk about like the actionable stuff, like with clients, like this is what I would tell my client to do. This is what we'd focus on. This is where they were before, especially if you're talking about females. This is where she was before. This is what she's struggling with. This is what I told her based on this problem. Long form is the best for conversion because like I would never buy anything expensive from someone that I don't feel like I know. And the only way I get to know you is if I feel like I see you talking about things. Think about your favorite movie star. Generally, you've never met them, right? But as I was saying this, I was thinking like these people have listened to me talk for 50 minutes straight, and I barely have had a conversation with anyone else. What a yapper. But these people that you feel like you get to know, it's because you've seen and heard them talk so often. And that like is the most powerful thing. And what you can do and will help boost conversion is getting you talk more through these things. So I just take your more popular videos, make them a lot longer. Obviously right now you're doing vertical videos. If you're going to do long form, you just got to take it like this, go horizontal with it, and just make them longer and then go from there. Hendrik is here, says, right now I'm just throwing the stuff at the wall and seeing what sticks. That's amazing. And that's what you should be doing. But now let's see what is sticking and make more of that stuff. Transform your body in 1 year, a proven 4-step plan. Since it has 120 views over 26 subscribers, that means it's being found. And I would do more of this stuff. So body transformation, fat loss, muscle gain, specific numbers around this stuff. Maybe make a video that's more specific to a type of person. Like if I click on your sales page here, everything looks really professional and amazing, which is fantastic. Get the results you need without breaking a sweat. No one wants to spend their hard-earned money on things that are going to be really difficult and hard. And you talking about without breaking a sweat means like, hey, this is going to be simple. Let me just show you. People are willing to do the hard work and stuff, but only they'll do that stuff, but only when we position it around like when they see what's in it to that for them. So we kind of got to do it that way. Now, get the results you need without breaking a sweat. Like, what are those results? And going back to that. So like body transformation, if that's like the body transformation blueprint, if it's like, what you're doing around transformation, I'd focus on that stuff as well. Let's look at some of the other ones. Why the calories in, calories out method fails for sustainable weight loss. I would just, now if we feel like sustainable weight loss is the thing that they want, I would just, I talk about why the calories in, calories out method fails for fat loss, for weight loss, especially around like this one did well though, but I think you're getting an idea around, hey, belly fat reduction. To me, I think if I was to redo any video right away, I would do revamp your diet, unlock the secrets to belly fat reduction, get strategic with this one. 5 steps to lose 10 pounds of belly fat in the next month. And then just the biggest thing with like this type of content, what's going to make it go over well is when people learn things without them realizing they're being taught. If you give them strategies, action points, tips, you can work in like how you lose belly fat throughout those tips, but you want to position it in a way where they feel like they're getting something, which is like the tips and the strategies, and then kind of go from there. But I'd go through, you've created so much content over the last 5-6 months, go over this stuff, see what has the most views. And it seems like you're picking up steam, which is amazing. And then double down on some of these things. There's other channels that are like, what would be a good example of a science-based YouTube page? Some of the biggest ones. I'd think about Jeremy Ethier. Let's pull this one up. Huge channel. Let's look at the best titles and what they're focusing on. And then we're going to mirror some content based on that. Go to videos, 7 million subscribers, huge channel. Go to popular, 21 million views. Man, his best video is on posture based stuff. That's kind of interesting. There's more than one posture one. I never thought that, knew that. The number one exercise to lose belly fat for good. I almost guarantee he's probably not talking about exercise. He's probably talking about nutrition. He's probably talking about something different, but he's bringing people in. He's opening that door around what they want. I'd do some stuff like that, Hendrikus, and focus there. But you're off to a really, really good start with some of the stuff that you're already posting. I try to give a summary of the tips at the end of each video. Hey, this is a great point. Talk only about the tips with the title and throughout the video, and then do the education-based stuff throughout the tips. I personally, like the biggest thing that you got to do with, the most important thing you got to do with YouTube and videos in general is keep people engaged with the hook and going through this stuff. Like give your best stuff right at the beginning and get them hooked in, and then talk about the education stuff through there. That's what I would do. If you guys are digging the live today, make sure to hit that like button and drop the words formula in the actual chat. And I'm going to raffle off. What I'll do is I'm going to give this video like a day so others can tune in and watch it. But I'm going to take the people that already said formula, add you into the raffle here. We got Jordan and we got Daisy. And since you guys were live, same with you, Allison, I'm going to give you guys 2 submissions for the raffle, and then we'll go from there. And if others want to watch it and they want to tune in, I'll do a raffle in the next 24 hours of this. Maybe we'll do more. But if you're also digging the content today, let me know, because we can do more of it, because I love this stuff. Like how quick did an hour just fly by, right? Crazy. Got any questions today, guys? about this stuff? Anything else going on you want answers to? Hope you found the value in today, guys. I had a lot of fun doing it. We can definitely do more lives like this, and we'll go from there. But the biggest thing I want you to focus on is like, hey, let's do more of them. So let me know that you want more of them. Let me know where I can find you on social media. Let me know, and we'll use your examples in the next couple of ones. But we got Stay Fit with Daisy in my raffle here. We got Jordan. We got Allie. There we go. Glad you found that helpful, Hendrikus. Also, if I clicked on this HV account right now, would it go right to the main page? I'd start using that one too. Without a doubt. Why not? Look forward to seeing the female accounts for references from you. Absolutely. Happy to do that, Daisy. Happy you found value in this cat. We'll chat with you later, and then we'll go from there. All right, guys, that's it for today. If you're watching the replay, make sure to drop the words formula and then go from there. Okay, awesome. I'd put a face image around your chat and stuff too, just because that's going to make it go further and that type of stuff, Hendrikus. All right, gang, that's it for today. Let me know if there's anything else. Have a good one. Bye.